It's the final race of the season in the Protyre Motorsport Ginetta GT Championship here at Donington Park, and it's a 40-minute pit stop race. These new for 2025 feature races that have been a real hit, I think. The drivers have enjoyed them, and I've certainly enjoyed some of the intriguing strategic calls that have been made over the course of the year that have decided many a race in the Ginetta GT Championship in 2025. This is the second race for these drivers this weekend, and their first one yesterday, the more traditional 20-minute sprint, was certainly drama-filled with the race really going right down to the wire. It was a bit of a bruising race at times. Jack Collins able to hang on to the win, and Archie Clark managed to come home in second position. There were quite a few championship conversations going on coming into this final week, and the Pro Championship has been that's Pro Championship's been wrapped up. We've got Pro-Am and Am still yet to be decided, so that is going to be the big talking point, I think, over the course of the next 40 minutes or so. In Pro-Am, Nick White is trailing Harry Gamble coming into this race by 13 points. It means that Nick White must outscore him by actually 24 points because of drop scores in order to be the Pro-Am champion. So if Gamble non-finishes, Nick White would only need 9th place or higher because there are more points on offer in these longer races. In the Am category, meanwhile, it's even closer. Just 9 points between Luke Shaw and Ali Jafali, who was involved in a drama at the start of yesterday's race. Jack Collins it is, though, who has the pole position. Harry Gamble alongside. Nick White and Robert Cronin together on row number 2, with Luke Shaw and Hadley Simpson your third row starters. Then Mike Taylor and Cameron Pratt-Thompson for SVG Motorsport on the 4th row. Row 5, Ali Jafali and Alex Duncan. Emma Tomlinson and Colin White then are together on the 6th row of the grid. Mark Ellman is on row 7 with James Rowling, and the back row of the grid shared by Oliver Fordham and Felix Livesey. So that's the grid. I mentioned that Am Championship battle, 9 points the difference, so Jafali must outscore Luke Shaw by 10 points. There are fewer drop scores at play in the Ams because they've had a few non-finishes, so if Shaw were to non-finish, Jafali would need 11th or higher. Emma Tomlinson, mathematically, is in contention still. 70 points would be required for Emma, though she needs to win the race and have the other two not manage to finish. Got all that? There will be a test in 40 minutes' time when we get to the checkered flag, but we'll wait and see. It's a longer race at least. There might be a bit more time for things to calm down and give us a proper idea of what the points permutations are going to be. Archie Clark, by the way, has decided not to race in this final race, having wrapped up the Pro Championship yesterday. He's decided it's not worth getting involved in potential on-track incidents that could lead to penalties. And so a bit like Rocco Coronel, who won the Ginetta Juniors yesterday with 2 races to spare, he has decided that he's going to sit this one out, which is probably a sensible call given how frenetic yesterday's race ended up being. There's also a 10-place grid penalty, by the way, for car number 31, Felix Livesey, for causing a collision in yesterday's race. So, Jack Collins on pole. Harry Gamble will be alongside him. Harry had drama yesterday, didn't he? He was running really well, then clipped the tyres at the chicane, broke the steering, went off, tried to carry on, went off again on the Cronin curves. That filled the radiator grille with grass, and his car pulled over in a steamy mess at the side of the road to retirement. He desperately needs to put that back behind him now, though, does Harry. Again, of real significance for the championship. So we are almost good to go then. Cars 2x2 to the line. Jack Collins and Harry Gamble, the front row of the grid. Collins, the red on the left, and Nick White it is, who gets a really good start behind him and tries to challenge. Remember, he's going after Harry Gamble, who closes the door on the inside line into Redgate Corner. Is Gamble going to get the lead? Is it going to be Robert Cronin, who comes up the middle of everybody in the yellow and black car, and he will be possibly second? Oh, around goes Hadley Simpson, and around goes Cronin as well. Nick White nearly collected. Cronin's coming back into the road. It's a big shunt, an enormous pile-up down the hill. Oh, that is a big, big accident. That is not what we wanted to see, and it all happened because one car got spun to the inside. An instant red flag. That is not a surprise, and this, I fear, is going to be a fairly lengthy delay. That is a sizable incident, and yeah, it was Cronin, I think, who got tabbed sideways, and the the car as it came back into the road was always likely to be collected. Well, that is scary stuff. The marshals will be on the scene immediately, and they'll be giving their attention to the drivers, and that, of course, is the priority. So red flag out, race stops, and the cars will slowly make their way back around to the start-finish area, and presumably be lined up on the grid, waiting further news of a restart as the recovery cars and course cars make their way out onto the circuit. So a lot going on even before we got to the first corner, wasn't there, really? Cronin, who made a brilliant start and came charging up the middle of everybody, really, but in the end, Harry Gamble holding on to the lead. Collins is still there. That's Cameron Pratt-Thompson, third in line. But that took out, I reckon, about half the field. I think 6 cars in total involved in this incident. And so, yeah, understandably, that was always going to have to be a instant race stoppage. So, Gamble brings them around and will be directed to the end of the grid hatchings, because we'll go back as and when we ever get a restart, we'll go back to original grid order. So that looks like Ali Jafali to me. Yes, it is Ali Jafali coming into the pit lane. So Ali Jafali, who, remember, needed to try and outscore Luke Shaw in this race, but was Luke one of those caught in the mess at turn 1? Trying to see if he's there in that queue or not. Luke Shaw, number 21, I think made it through. So if Jafali's picked up some damage, that's of significance for the championship, as Jafali's team go to work looking at the car, trying to figure out exactly what the damage is. So, oh, now other cars starting to come in. I think that might have been Oliver Fordham, the number 4, who's also bailed for the pit lane. You can bring the car into the pit lane under a red flag, but limited on what work you can do to the car under red flag conditions. So teams can assess the situation. Might not be able to do a huge amount of work to fix the cars, though. So we'll wait further news. As you can see, medical cars heading out to the exit of Redgate Corner as well, and the priority here is making sure that the drivers are well looked after, and we'll worry about the fairly trivial matter of restarting the race a little bit later on. But yeah, dramatic stuff, and what a shame at the end of what's been a standout season for the Protyre Motorsport Ginetta GT Championship. This has been a real breakout season, as I said, with these new regulations for 2025 and the new updated cars. The 6.2 litre V8 engine has been a real hit. They look great, they sound great, they've been purposefully designed to provide good racing as well. And the cars with a lot of aerodynamic aids taken away, so no front splitter, very little in the way of dirty air as a result of that, and very much putting the onus on the drivers to do what they need to do and get the most out of the cars. It's provided some great racing, and really close racing as well across all 3 classes. It's a rare championship in that you have 3 grades of driver, Pro, Pro-Am and Am, all fighting in the same championship standings. Yes, you've got your own individual class championships, but because you score points based on your outright finish in this championship, it's led to a lot of really interesting battles where pros have had to try and fight their way past some of the really quick Pro-Ams. The Am drivers have often found their way towards the pointy end. Luke Shaw, for example, starting 5th for this race, is an Am driver, albeit championship leader in the Am class, but yeah, managing to regularly take the fight to some of the more experienced drivers. So it's been a really great season for this championship, and real shame that this final race of the season has got off to the start that it got off to. But we'll await further news. Fingers crossed that the drivers involved are all okay, and we will update you as soon as we have any information on what potentially the plan is going to be going forward. Like I said, quite a few teams going to work in the pit lane. I'm trying to squint to see what Elite Motorsport are doing or looking at on Ali Jafali's car. It looks like it's the right-hand side of the car, potentially, which is the bit being given the most attention. and suggests that he perhaps has had a little bit of a knock as well. So, whilst we wait and the cars do now start to get re-gridded, hopefully in anticipation at some point of a race restart, Joe Osborne has rejoined me in the commentary box. Had a few minutes to catch his breath after that sensational British GT race. And Joe, Ginetta, a brand very close to your heart, of course, and this Ginetta GT Championship I was just discussing as you were on your way in, the strength that it's gone to this year, the tweaks that they've made to the regulations really seem to have gone down well.
Yeah, massively so. And Ginetta's, like you said, a brand close to my heart. They really were the springboard to make me a professional driver and go all the way back to 2007. I used to race the G20, which was very much one of their early sports cars. And then it morphed into the G50, which they made a GT4 car out of that race British GT into European GT. We actually won the European GT4 Championship in that car in 2009. And Ginetta's just, I love how the company's run. Lawrence Tomlinson, the chairman, owner of Ginetta, just loves motorsport. He's very patriotic about it. They're built all in Yorkshire, up near Leeds and Garforth, and they've always done well. They've always hit above their weight as a car manufacturer, and that's now seen, I think, as evidence in all the support categories that they've now produced.
Yeah, absolutely. You can tell that it's a racer's company, isn't it? And some of the changes they made to this car in particular, specifically designed to make the racing better, which is good for us watching on, but really important, I think, for a driver. You know, this is a sort of rung on the GT racing ladder. A lot of the pro drivers in this championship will be looking to move into something like British GT or going and racing in Europe, perhaps. And you don't just need to learn how to drive a car quickly, you've got to learn how to race them.
Yeah, massive. So I was actually here last week coaching in one of these cars with James Rowling in the Fox Motorsport car, and it was the first time I'd driven this new updated V8 car, and it makes a phenomenal noise, but it's phenomenally fast as well. It really is on the door of GT4 pace. So like you said, Andy, it's a great stepping stone if you're newer into motorsport and you're trying to work out where do I want to go. British GT is a great target to have for lots of these drivers, so why not make a car that's comparable to a British GT4 car, which is what Ginetta have done, and the racing is always good in one make series. But Ginetta seem to be able to take it to another level. It's, for me, the way they build the cars so precisely, it just means there's very little disparity between cars. So it is, again, all down to the driver.
And I think they've really found a welcome home here, haven't they, on the SRO package, of course, moving over to be the full-time British GT support categories a couple of years ago, and it makes perfect sense, really, because it is a GT racing championship, but even things like Ginetta Juniors and GT Academy as well, for them to be on this particular racing package makes absolutely perfect sense, and I think that's why now they've really started to rebuild, and the grid numbers are going up. It's a difficult time to be running a championship at this level, but Ginetta, as always, doing a brilliant job. The Ginetta Junior Championship has been enormously competitive this year, one of the most competitive seasons we've seen for quite some time, and nice to see that the juniors are still attracting such a healthy grid. And I know you've been involved a lot with the juniors as well, haven't you, this year, and seeing not only the size of the grid, but the strength in depth in that grid as well, of all the junior championships out there. Ginetta Junior is as strong as ever, I'd say.
It's the junior championship, isn't it? Across the globe. Yeah. So when we went to Zandvoort early in the year, the Dutch fans were fascinated by these 14, 15, 60-year-old children driving these cars. Europe just hasn't allowed it. And I have to give kudos to Motorsport UK as well for allowing these young drivers to race, but safely as well. The Junior is a phenomenally strong car, but like you said, Andy, the quality of these drivers, I work with the teams and you sit next to these drivers, which is scary in itself. You're sitting next to a 14-year-old child flinging you around a circuit, but they're so good. So the scarier part of the day is when the team asks you to drive and do a reference, and you actually realise that the level they're at is so high, and the Junior car slightly quirky to drive because it's a short, narrow wheelbase on a road tyre. You kind of have to forget everything you know about a high grip level GT car and just have it out, have it sideways, have it on the edge. And right now, I wouldn't back myself to qualify inside the top 10 of the Ginetta Junior. The quality so high, and you only have to look back at previous race winners, championship winners of juniors to see that they go all the way through to Formula One And that is really the standout quality Juniors allows these drivers to possess.
What do you make of Rocco Coronel and what he's managed to achieve in the Junior Championship this year? I said it's been one of the most competitive years ever, and it genuinely has been. He's not been dominating the races, but such an impressive winning streak and such impressive racecraft as well. A star of the future, surely.
Yeah, a winning streak from a ruthless streak driver. He's very similar to another Dutchman that's going rather well in motorsport at the top end. He is one of those few drivers I look at and go, I would very much like to race against him because he is so aggressive. Comes from such a motorsport family as well. Tom Coronel gave me a tour of the Coronel Emporium in Amsterdam, the kart track, everything he's got going on. They're a really, really impressive family.
Yeah, absolutely so. He's been an astonishing find this year, hasn't he, Rocco Coronel? Wish him the very best of luck in the future. Right, Bryn Lucas has also decided to stick around and do a bit of extracurricular work for us. He is down, I believe, on the grid, possibly with Jack Collins.
Yeah, well, you know what, sometimes the opportunity takes it, you've got to go, don't you? Jack is here, currently sitting in the car. Great win for you yesterday. It's not quite what you want on a final race weekend of the season, but talk us through your weekend and you know how it's been so far for you this season.
Yeah, I mean, it's my first season in car racing, so obviously getting into it at the beginning of the season was quite a big step from a 30 horsepower go-kart to a 400 horsepower, basically a GT4 car. But I've adapted well. I've got better and better over the season. I had a clean sweep at Brands Hatch, looking to do the same thing this weekend. Yeah.
Ideally, how many seasons would you spend in this before you decide to move on up, and where is the ceiling to where you'll go?
Well, I hope the ceiling is very, very high. I hope. I think I'd like to move up. I feel like I'm taking a step up every year. I think I'd like to move up next year. But we'll see what opportunities come. And yeah, hopefully I can be moving up soon enough.
We've seen so far this weekend that the weather has been a bit tricky to deal with. Even today, where the wind isn't the thing, but the rain is the thing. How tricky is that for you guys when you're facing a race like this with the size of the team you have at your disposal?
Yeah, I mean, the weather's always a scary thing. The wind isn't so much of a factor in these. I think we don't have so much aero that we rely on. It's a lot of mechanical grip. So the wind doesn't matter too much, but when the rain comes, you see it on the windshield and then you feel it quite far after. So it's picking a time to pull back a little bit rather than push on and maybe lose more time trying to push too hard.
You've hinted at your career so far to date. How different is this to drive? Give us mere mortals an idea of what the difference is between a kart and something like this.
I mean, there's a lot more between the road and your arse in this than there is in a go-kart. In a go-kart, you're basically driving some scaffolding, so you feel everything. In these, it takes a lot longer for the car to load. Everything takes a little bit longer. So yeah, a different driving style is needed, but I'm enjoying this more than I enjoyed the go-karts, 100%.
What have you learned the most, or what has been the biggest change then between the kart and this? I mean, you say it feels different, the load's different, you're sitting slightly higher off the ground, not much higher, but you are higher off the ground. But yeah, what has been the number one lesson you've had to learn, or you are still learning?
Yeah. To be honest, this feels slower than the go-kart. Everything happens slower. I think the tracks are bigger. In a go-kart, you're always making micro adjustments. In these, it's a lot more smooth, getting into a rhythm. Everything happens slower, but you're moving faster, if you get what I mean.
That does actually make sense even to someone like me, as we see some more of the recovery trucks just going past right now. So it's been a good weekend for you so far. I'm sure you'd like it to continue that way.
Yeah, very good weekend. I hope everyone over there is all right. I heard it was quite a big shunt. Yeah, I hope they're all okay.
We'll bring you as much news as we can when we can. Jack, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you very much. Cheers.
Well, great to hear from Jack Collins, someone who moves out of karting and into a Ginetta GT car. I mean, he's just sort of explained it to us there, Joe, but the difference, the leap that is, I think often we see really, really good karters and we think, oh, well, they're bound to have a successful circuit racing career, and maybe if they jump into a single-seater, that's easier for them to do. But to jump into a GT car, that is quite the challenge.
Yeah, and pulling away already, so that was a quick getaway, wasn't it? And we've quickly resumed the race. One of the drivers only just getting back in.
I think maybe they're being sent back to the paddock area.
Yeah, see if they do a hard left now through the gap at Redgate, or they are getting ready for a formation lap.
Right, so we are hearing that this race is going to be run at the end of the day if there is time. So it's going to be a postponement to the race as opposed to a cancellation. They really don't want to cancel it, of course, because it's a championship decider, so at least in 2 of the 3 classes. So they'll run it at the end if there's time. They do, of course, have the option to shorten the race as well. It was supposed to be 40 minutes with a pit stop. They could always revert back to something different. We're also hearing that the drivers involved are largely okay. One has been sent to the medical centre for precautionary checks. That's excellent news. And again, you know, we talk a lot about the performance of racing cars, Joe, but safety should always be and is always of the utmost importance. And to come out of an accident as sizable as that one with, fingers crossed, no major injuries, is a testament to the work that Ginetta put in to making a car as safe as well as quick as it could be. So, unfortunately, we'll have to put a pin in that one. We'll hopefully be able to bring you that race at the end of the day. Maybe head over to the Ginetta social media pages for updates throughout the rest of the afternoon. We've still got another Ginetta Junior and GT Academy race to come later on today as well. So, join us again later on for more Ginetta action here at Donington Park.